And welcome to Channel KRT. Grown adults grumble about how a show they grew up with isn't the same as they remember anymore edition. I'm Tyler Green.
Having fun is hard, even with a library card. I'm Kit Quinn.
Well, this show isn't how I remember it when I was a kid. I'm Randy.
And let's bring in a wonderful guest. We've talked about Arthur with him before, and he's back again. Please welcome Ryan Walterson.
Woo! Yay!
Yep, it's me, the guy from that video with the overalls and such, and they're not with me at the moment.
Oh yeah, this guy actually knows Arthur. It's pretty crazy.
Just so you guys know, I did try to get
Andy
on for this episode, but he wouldn't return my calls, so...
Yeah, so we have
Ryan,
but
Andy
couldn't be here today.
All in any jokes that I accidentally rip off from Peanut Butter Gamer, I apologize for in advance. Please don't sue me.
Said Kit. But yeah, we are finally talking about Arthur again, and we're taking a look at one of the later season episodes, which is an era of the show, I shall say.
Okay, let me say this. It's not nearly as bad as the downfall of Fairly Odd Parents. It's nowhere near that fucking dire, but...
Oh, no.
As far as shows that I grew up with starting to take a bit of a downturn, I'd rank it around The Simpsons. It's not bad, but it feels like something changed.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, like, it's Arthur. It's really hard to kind of like fuck up Arthur because it's like something that's just so simple inherently. But my main issue is that compared to like the original Arthur, the animation here just feels so like stilted and lifeless and weird, which is like my main criticism of modern Simpsons is the animation and how it feels so much less flowy than it used to when it was cell animated. If Arthur ever was cell animated, I can't remember if it was.
It was in like the first 3 seasons at least.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, honestly, I would say that if it were just the animation, I'd say, well, it's kind of a downgrade, but it's not the worst thing ever. Honestly, my bigger problem with these later seasons is it's fine for kids, but I miss how unique the show was. Like how it was like this perfect blend of a show that was made for pretty much all ages. Like adults got stuff in it. Like there were really cool style parodies, adult references, and they tackled subjects that just felt real. And I'll say this about this special, this is one of the better elements of the later seasons, but that's not saying much.
You know, I don't think it would be fair of me to judge a show's era based on the one special I've seen from it, but there's just something missing to, the Flash era that the original show just captured so perfectly. I feel like there is heart, but that's not in it in this special.
And like, again, I don't think it's like the worst a show has fallen. It helps that there are really good elements to it, like obviously the Mr. Ratburn wedding episode, and there were some good messages in later seasons. And in addition, I think that the finale was strong enough to justify it, but yeah, it's an era that I can kind of see why I kind of fell off around 2010.
At the ripe old age of like, what, 20?
Technically 15, but yeah. 14.
Even better.
Yeah. I remember when I turned 14, I was like, this Arthur thing just ain't hitting anymore.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch more mature stuff. Let's see what Wildcrats is doing.
I don't know about you, but I went a lot edgier than that. I was watching iCarly.
Now, if Bluey had existed when I was in high school, I'd be watching that daily.
Oh, probably.
Well, I did go through a brony phase in high school, so I guess close enough for me.
Oh yeah, I did too, so...
There's probably some alternate universe where Bluey started airing on PBS rather than Disney.
I don't know how they would like fit the 7 episodes together.
Oh god, that's the universe where Michael Eisner successfully bought Sesame Street.
Oh god.
No.
So Jim Henson finally said yes after all the pestering. Wait, no, this is the universe where Jim Henson went and got a penicillin, recovered, was still alive, so Michael Eisner could still pester him, and then he said, fine, you can have Sesame Street if you just shut up already.
But, I feel like my opinion of this specific Arthur era would be different if I watched some more episodes of it, but I just frankly don't have the interest currently because it just feels like, I will say it is an amazing feat that the show lasted as long as it did,
Yeah.
The show actually premiered like right around the time I was born, funny enough.
Yeah.
So in a way, I did really grow up with the show for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, I fell off with it down the line, but still.
And plus, it had like many of the same people involved from the beginning. Like not just the voice actors, but like a lot of the writers from the first number of seasons would continue to work on it, like up until like this very episode.
And let me tell you, it is so fucking surreal that they have recasted Arthur and DW so many times, but Binky, Muffy, and Buster basically have the exact same voices as they did 20 years ago.
Francine, Prunella, the all of them, yeah, they just have the same ones. I think, other than the Brain, who has always been recast, I think the only one I could think of that's had like only 2 actors who were different was Sue Ellen, because they had like one consistently, and then I think like once Sonar was switched over into Cookie Jar, they got a different actress to do it throughout the rest of the show.
Oh, okay.
Which I know this when I was little, but it never bothered me. I was just like, oh, it's a different woman.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I do wonder why they recast the Brain. I just can't put my finger on what it was about the Brain that needed to be recast.
Maybe the room just got too crowded.
I feel like this is at the least way better than Arthur's missing pal. That's
Yeah.
Oh, that fucking piece of shit.
Arthur does not work in CGI, point blank.
No.
At least this special doesn't make Arthur a fucking dog abuser and neglector. What the fuck?
Coming to a later season of the show, hopefully. I have it on DVD, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry.
I think my family did too, but I never watched it as a kid. I wonder why.
So it's pretty fitting that this is our 88th episode, because the episode in question that we're talking about, DW and the Beastly Birthday, is a time travel episode.
Yay!
Time travel, interdimensional travel.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, why were there so many Doctor Who parodies in the later seasons as well?
Somebody on the writing team was a Whovian, it's very obvious.
Yeah, fair,
Yeah.
but it also gave us one of the weirdest Monkey's Paw episodes where DW got in trouble, but Arthur also had to suffer for it.
Yeah.
This
That
little
makes-
shit, I swear to God.
Also, so this special is both a time travel episode, but also a Where the Wild Things Are parody. Why not?
It's everything. Throw random parody in the ring. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's...
It's the Mark Brown, Maurice Sendak crossover we never needed.
Also, they time travel only 4 years into the future, which, since this was made in 2018, means that a good chunk of this episode takes place in 2022, and boy do I wish the 2022 was as good as they made it look.
God.
Yeah, no kidding.
They,
No masks either, by the way.
Yeah.
they got to skip 2020. So yeah.
This is the universe where Hillary won and COVID was wiped out in a month.
Yay!
Yay.
So Elwood CIty is like Earth-C124, something like that.
Sure.
And so, how many times has DW turned 5 in this show? Or is it like every single other birthday she's had in this show been her turning 4? Because I'm like, continuity error, guys.
How old are you? I'm 5. How long have you been 5?
It's like that Tumblr post where Buster has an epiphany, and everybody's like, "You'd have an epiphany too if you were 8 for 20 years."
I was doing a Twilight parody, but yeah.
The longer we discuss this episode, I think it is safe to say this episode is kind of existential.
Yeah.
They're stuck in a time loop forever and ever,
They really are.
like both literally and figuratively in the show.
I'm sorry, but if I go to a planetarium, fall asleep, wake up, and find out it's 4 years into the future, and they're just calmly explaining, oh yeah, you went through a wormhole and you were missing for 4 years, I'd probably start having a panic attack.
We're jumping way ahead,
But we're not explaining the context, though. That's okay.
Right.
Oh, I
yeah.
In all fairness, this is kind of a clusterfuck.
yeah. Mr. Rapper literally says,
But you were all sucked into the wormhole and transported into the future.
How far into the future?
Exactly 4 years. Although for you, only an hour has elapsed. You're still all in 3rd grade.
and I'm thinking to myself, so this is already how time works in the Arthurverse, so that's not really that big a difference.
Huzzah.
It almost reminds me of, you guys remember the episode where Ratburn takes the class to the science museum and they sleep there for the night, and
Oh, the World of Tomorrow episode. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one.
and Binky wakes up and like hundreds of years into the future, and like Buster and everyone, they're wearing like these, I don't know, like these space suits, and it's like they're like in lockdown or something, because
Yeah.
that's what this almost reminded me of.
Yeah, that's what I was getting the vibes of too. And like, that's the episode where they also show that Binky repeated a grade, so he basically has to go through the same field trip again. And it's like somehow he gets served the same mac and cheese that he did last year.
All right, so the episode opens with DW celebrating her birthday, and she thinks it's a total bust. Because she complains that the weather sucks, and there's this whole monologue she has about this fluff MacGuffin doll that she's been wanting, and she's basically shoving this doll and the fact that she wants it down everybody's throat. And I know DW's parents are morons and everything, but you'd think that they would learn from Christmas and get her that damn toy.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I'll say this, that toy was less annoying than the Tina the Talking Tabby toy.
No, Kit, you mean Tina, Tina, tiny,
Tina,
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 Tina, tiny,
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 Tina.
Tina, tiny, Tina.
Tina the talking. Shut your fucking mouth!
You know what? This birthday is just God punishing DW for the crime of being DW.
Also, DW's entitled to her wrong opinion. Vanilla cake with chocolate icing sounds way better than chocolate cake with vanilla icing.
Yeah.
Agree
If
to
I-
disagree.
Yeah, she complains about that, but kid, you're still getting cake on your fucking birthday.
Yeah.
There are children in third world countries who don't get cake for their birthdays.
Also, we should mention in this later era, they introduced two new characters, LaDonna and Bud. They exist.
I was very confused when both of them showed up. I was like, oh, hey, new characters that I do not know and will not have explained to me unless I go to the Arthur Wiki at who they are.
They explain who they are in their first appearance, which is, I think, is the first episode of the Flash era.
Yeah, they're not Sparky bad, they're not Cousin Oliver bad, but they are...
They're just there.
Yeah.
I can't hate them, but I can't like them either because they virtually have no personality traits.
I mean, better no personality than totally insufferable personality if you're just gonna add a random new character, I guess.
Like, LaDonna has a cute design, but that's kind of it, honestly.
I mean, LaDonna's sole personality trait is that she has an accent.
Yeah.
Bud's personality trait is that he wears that hat. That's it. That's literally all I know about them.
I think she's a little more than that because, I'll be honest, I've seen a lot more of it. But I think she is, likable for the most part. A country girl, because she moved from Louisiana and all that. But I get it if some people aren't used to her because, well, for one, you're grown. This is not from this era that you grew up with. But at the same time, I didn't find her like that bad of a character, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
It's not that she's bad. It's just I don't know anything about her.
Also, I did feel sorry for Bud because DW gets on his ass for being good at a game.
I gotta be honest too. This bitch clearly hates the Tibble twins. Why do her parents keep inviting them over?
In all fairness, who doesn't hate the fucking Tibble twins?
Don't we all?
Yeah, they're even worse than DW, if I can be honest.
The Tibble twins are the only characters that actually make me sympathize with DW.
Oh yes, fully agreed.
Even when the Tibbles learn, they don't learn.
Yeah, they're basically the Key and Alex to DW's Michelle Tanner, which I'll say this, I still prefer DW over Michelle any day.
The Tibble twins are that one kid in the neighborhood your mom keeps asking why you don't play with.
One thing that DW says in her monologue about the Fluff MacGuffin toy.
What was I supposed to do? Shout at the top of my lungs? Buy me that puffin for my birthday?
No! Hasn't stopped you before.
Yeah.
By the way, can we acknowledge how weird it is that the episode starts with a title card first, then goes into the story?
Yeah, that's so weird because the way the opening monologue sets it up, you think that it's gonna cut to the title card, and then it doesn't.
Which I know that this is a special episode rather than a regular episode, but you're still setting it up like a regular episode.
Yeah. And the Arthur Wiki even says this is the only specialer episode that does not have a proper introduction.
You say specialer?
Did I?
Yeah, it's so unique. It's making us create words.
Hooray! I will say I did like that they actually did make a unique animation for the title card, because I noticed in this era they kind of would start just using a clip from the episode in the title card, so it was nice seeing something actually new.
I will say, I'm glad that they didn't change the incidental music for the most part.
Yeah.
But to see this arguably timeless incidental music go with this Flash animation, which looks as dated as it was as soon as it was animated, it's jarring. It really is. I'm sorry.
Same with, like, the dream sequence sound effect that's been used, like, literally since the beginning of the show.
That sound effect is literally distinctly 90s, but very timeless, as I've just said.
They still use that sort of, calypso style, jazz style music.
Little bit of acoustic bluegrass-ish stuff.
Yeah, it's really neat.
It has lived in my head for the last 24 years.
Hell yeah. Also, during the pinata scene, it would have been so funny if when DW said, "Stop, it's already broken," the Tibbles just picked up their bats and accidentally whacked her with it. It's so fucked up, but...
Stop! He's already dead.
It's the swing all over again.
Me and my friends would have beat DW with hammers, I tell you that.
Also, I love that no matter what, everything Emily does will forever surpass DW. Get wrecked.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad at first because it's like, yeah, she is being kind of a show-off, but on the other hand, it's DW, so who cares?
Yeah, she always has to show off like some French shit, I know.
But she's nice. She's not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
It's like she's not trying to upstage you, it just comes naturally.
Yeah. Just don't wear those earrings that turn your ears green again.
Oh, God. So then we find out that Arthur managed to miss the party because he's going with his class on a field trip, which everybody gets on his case for. It's like, how can you miss your sister's birthday? First off, I really don't think an 8-year-old needs to be attending a 5-year-old's party. Second, it's a planetarium. I would happily pick that any day.
Yeah, the planetarium is fucking fun.
It's not like he's not gonna come home. School still ends at 2:00.
In their defense, LaDonna's the only one I get why she would bring it up, because she's the only one who has a younger sibling.
Oh, yeah, true.
The rest of them have, like, either no sibling or just older siblings.
And she brings up how in her family they attend every single birthday, so I'm just like, even the first birthday of a person? Like, do they attend the birth?
Are they just hanging out in the delivery room hoping something will pop out eventually?
Oh, God.
Hey, what you crying for, boy? It's a good show. This is a damn good show.
What happens when the due date comes and it still doesn't come out? Sometimes that happens.
She is a rabbit, so...
Oh, God. Or it's like for somebody who's like 100 years old at this point. Happy birthday, Grandma! Please kill me already.
And just when I thought, hey, maybe I was too hard on the Reed parents in the past, we get the fucking flashback where DW is riding Arthur like a pony at her last birthday party, hitting him with a fly swatter, and he's like, no, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. Immediately, DW starts whining and tattles on him, and his mom goes,
honey, it's one day.
And he's saying his back hurts, so it's like, fuck you, lady.
Let me be clear for a second. That's not the worst thing they do in this special.
No.
As I'll get to later.
That scene was just so uncomfortable to watch, even how Arthur's mom reacted aside. Like, ugh.
If I knew about the Horde Henry parents a lot sooner when we did that episode, I easily would have torn them new assholes like I tear these two new assholes regularly. But, for what it's worth, at least they have their decent moments of parenting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I did get a laugh out of the scene where Arthur picks up a birthday card that accidentally says little brother, and then Buster asks him, what type of animal is that on the card? And he's like, I don't know, an aardvark?
Okay, that did get a laugh out of me. That
It
was
did.
kind of meta.
Yeah. They later do a similar joke where Buster's like, I could fit in a wormhole or a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but Buster, for lack of a better term, became a lot more stupid somehow.
Yeah, sadly.
Like they definitely flanderized him a bit, because there's one bit like not too long after that where he's in the planetarium. He asks Mr. Ratburn, if we have to go to the bathroom, how do we stop the rocket? Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Buster.
Yeah, it's the Cosmo effect, basically, where it's like, the stupider they are, it's the funnier they are, right? Like, I know he was always a bit goofy, but come on.
Yeah, Buster was never stupid. He was just kind of weird.
Yeah.
I will say, his idea for bacon and egg breakfast dumplings, pretty fucking good idea.
He ate with that.
Get on that binging with Babish.
I would make some tweaks on that, but it does sound very good.
It didn't look great from the way Buster made it, but, it's Buster, so just take with that what you will. His appetite.
Also, when Mr. Ratburn receives a call and says, "Oh, hi, Francis," I was like, that had to be some guy he was seeing before he met Patrick, right?
That was a booty call. 100% a booty call. He just ditched the kids and just hung out.
How was your trip to Tanzania? Wink, wink.
So eventually DW just gets fed up with the bullshit at her birthday party, and she forces everybody to play hide and seek.
Yeah, and then they get on her case like,
Aw, that's a baby game. It is not a baby game. And if it was a baby game, we're still playing it. You know why? Because it's my birthday, and everyone has to do what I say. Are we clear?
Who has said that? I have played that shit up till the age of 12 and nobody's complained.
No, yeah.
We literally upgraded it as teenagers and called it Manhunt.
yeah. Call it the Hunger
Manhunt,
Games.
ding dong ditch.
Yeah, hide and seek is just like so much fun that we're like, oh yeah, you know what, Manhunt now. Yeah. It's this isn't hide and seek. This is Manhunt.
No, wait, call it Battle Royale. Call it Total Drama Island.
Minecraft
I don't know.
games.
It's all happening right now on Total Drama Elwood.
Good night, everybody. One other issue I have with this special, most of my problems with it would honestly be pretty mute if it wasn't an hour long. Like, it feels like this should be cut down to at least 30 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of padding in this special when we get to the parody and the time travel stuff, which we should get into that. So what kicks off, DW's fantasy portion is that, she goes to hide under the stairs in this crevice, and her imaginary friend Nadine joins her, and she gives her this ticket to a place called Ukabanga, which, yeah, I'm sure that sounds culturally sensitive.
Yeah, it's like
Crash Bandicoot called. They want their mask back.
When that happens, DW is like lamenting, "Why hasn't anybody found me yet? Have they stopped looking?" And it just cuts to, the entire house is just empty. Nobody's there.
Except the tumbleweed. How'd that get in here?
I have a feeling that with her hiding under the stairs, they probably wanted to make a Harry Potter joke before that became awkward to reference, so...
Yeah,
Was
it's
it
good
on?
vetoing
Oh,
that,
yeah, 2018, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the Arthur universe, wouldn't it be
And, Nadine is showing her how to get there. She basically has to scratch it off like a lottery ticket. And she says,
Hold the ticket up to your forehead and close your eyes. The words will come to you.
and I was fully expecting the magic words to be Klaatu Barada Nikto.
Oh, they
wish.
could have.
I really wish.
Mecha Lecca Hi, Mecha Hi Ni Ho.
I mean, if Sam Raimi got to direct an Arthur episode, would it be that bad?
Hell yeah, I'd be down for that.
Where was our Bruce Campbell guest appearance? Where was his persona?
This.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, Ryan, you got to remember, he was in the planetarium. He was the guy taking the tickets.
And then he shut out Arthur for not showing up on time.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. No one will be seated after the doors are closed. It helps maintain the illusion.
Yeah, that scene where Arthur wrestled Macho Man Randy Savage was a choice, but a welcome choice at that.
Huzzah.
At least it wasn't Hulk Hogan.
And then Cousin Mo died that day.
Yeah, remember Cousin Mo? I sure as fuck don't.
So Nadine basically strands DW in the middle of nowhere on that beach. So it's like...
Yeah, for some reason she can't go with her, despite the fact that this takes place in DW's imagination. Oh, we forgot to mention, Nadine says she won the ticket from Rumpelstiltskin playing Crazy Eights, which... Sure, why not?
Okay.
DW, I know it'll cheer you up. I got this ticket to this music festival called Firefest.
Hey, DW, I got a ticket to this thing called DashCon. I heard they're gonna have a ball pit.
Class, instead of going to the box factory today, we'll be going to the box factory.
Damn TV, you've ruined my imagination, just like you've ruined my ability oh well.
Oh, that's another thing, too. One thing I forgot to mention was that, Arthur and his class are watching the thing in the planetarium, and their narration intentionally mispronounces Uranus.
Imagine you are traveling through our solar system, past Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune.
Oh my god, in 6th grade, they made us pronounce it like Uranus, too. Which, there's no foolproof way. There's no foolproof way. You're either saying urine or anus, no matter what you call it. Just call it planet butthole at this point.
I'm sorry, Fry, but astronomers renamed Uranus in 2620 to end that stupid joke once and for all.
Oh, what's it called now?
Urectum.
Also, he mentions the supermassive black hole. Play some fucking Muse, guys.
This is a tangent, but I had a science teacher in high school who was like, yes, I will say Uranus in this class. Get your laughs out now because I won't allow it for the rest of the semester.
Well, at least he let you get them all out.
There we go.
Sir, can I be excused to laugh whenever you say the word Uranus? Also, the brain is talking about, time travel when he's explaining, what the movie they're going to be showing at the planetarium is about. And he says, what was just an hour for you might have been years and years on Earth. And again, that is a perfect description of not only Arthur's universe, but what it's like to work in retail.
It's like, same as it ever was. Same as it ever was.
There's water at the bottom of the ocean.
So when they cut back to Mr. Ratbird in the future, I'd see him and I'm like, it was intentional to make him look like Andy Warhol, right?
Oh, he glowed up, and he glowed up hard.
And yet people were surprised he turned out to be gay in the series.
Anderson Cooper, is that you?
Actually, he also kind of looked a little like Frank Reynolds in that one episode, so I was expecting him to say,
bullshit. Bullshit. Derivative.
I don't like this painting, class. It's smug or it mocks me.
It's not a painting of
cake.
So anyway, I started blasting.
So we should talk about this time travel plot because it's how the fuck did only a planetarium full of kids get sucked into a wormhole and not the rest of Elwood CIty?
A wizard did it.
That's your solution to everything.
And also, all these parents just had to deal with the fact that their kids were missing for 4 years. What the fuck?
They're so casual about it. There's my long lost son. Like, he just was out for like 5 minutes. Where's the...
No! Yeah, not only the families, but the kids themselves have to deal with their families being aged up by 4 years.
I saw a TV show about a plane full of passengers that went through this exact same kind of thing, and they were a lot less calm about it.
I feel like that planetarium would have been shut down by the police, and then Mr. Ratburn would have been investigated, the planetarium would have been investigated.
The SCP Foundation would have been there.
Yeah, that's another thing, too. Mr. Ratburn waited 4 years to come back and tell these kids that he's still going to give them homework. He should be teaching new students by now.
So I guess the doors were just locked.
And so then they show Kate as a 4-year-old, and I swear to God, her hair looked like a wig.
She looked like little Cindy Lou Who, that's the thing.
I was going to say, yeah, she looks very Seussian.
Why the fuck did they still keep that Pebbles Flintstones ass haircut on her?
Also, never mind the fact that she sounds like a grown fucking adult at that.
It's the same woman who voices Kate's whenever she's talking as a baby with Pal.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I will say about this episode, thank God Pal didn't fucking talk.
Hi, Arthur. Great to see you after 4 years.
Also, he was a good boy.
Yeah,
he grew. He turned into a kaiju.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was like a little dog.
I thought he was always inherently a small dog, but no, he's a full-blown beast.
Yeah, in the episode that they show him being born, the mom is a small dog, so how the fuck is he that big?
Unethical breeding practices.
Yay!
Bacon. Just bacon.
Yay!
And I know this is a cartoon. It's always going to take liberties with, time travel and time skips and everything, but there's no way technology advanced that fast in 4 years, right?
No, and
No, but apparently they got the economy being terrible enough that Kate has to wear hand-me-downs, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you mean to tell me that Arthur's parents didn't bother giving the youngest child entirely new clothes? I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you.
I am shocked.
So I see DW as a golden child, and this whole family is a future Reddit story.
Oh, yes.
Jesus.
Also, they changed the name of the game, Confuse the Goose, to Confuse the Moose suddenly. So I'm like, is that like a ripoff?
They turned Tower of Cows into Tower of Tofu. I noticed that too.
But guys, the worst change out of all of this, the sugar-free bowl. This is what the liberals took from you.
Also, why did they change the goose to the moose? Is goose in 2022 Elwood, offensive or something?
Maybe it's like the Confuse the Goose company continually got in trouble for tax purposes, so they had to keep changing the name of the game to hide themselves. I don't know.
No, I've decided that for unknown reasons, in Elwood, specifically in Elwood 2022, goose is offensive. We will not elaborate. It is offensive.
My theory is the Confuse the Goose people carried the mantle to trademark over to the Virtual Goose people. Now they own the rights.
Yeah.
Yay. And also in this special, there's a spin-off of Bionic Bunny called Cyborg City, which stars a female protagonist. And you just know there are incels in universe melting down over Cyborg City.
Bionic Bunny gone woke?
They took our Bionic Bunny from us. She's a girl now.
It's like Bunny Rabbit from the Sonic cartoon mixed with My Life as a Teenage Robot.
Yeah.
Kind of mixed with Sailor Moon, too, looking at the plot.
It really is.
My Life as a Sailor Rabbit.
Yeah.
When they go back to DW's dream, I did kind of like that they brought back her fear of octopi and had her finally face that fear. That was actually pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
What is so scary about those things anyway? It's probably one of the least threatening animals I've ever seen, unless it's a giant squid.
I'll say this. I've always found DW far, 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 far less obnoxious in her own episodes than I did in the episodes where she's very clearly the antagonist. Honestly, in episodes like The Name Game and that other time travel episode they did where she basically gave Arthur to an orphanage. That was a thing. Honestly,
God.
in those episodes, she's written like a realistic little kid, so she's far less annoying in those.
I mean, she's still pretty goddamn annoying in this. Don't get me wrong.
So I'll say this, she's less annoying as this special goes on.
Oh, absolutely. She actually learns something in this.
Yeah, that probably won't stick, but still.
And, because this special doesn't know which plot point to stick with, whether it be time travel or Where the Wild Things Are parody, why should we?
Yeah, we're not getting paid for this.
Well, we technically are, but
yeah,
I digress.
Subscribe to our Patreon. Yes, you will. No, I'm kidding.
This is what your money goes to.
Mother of God, it's all toilet sounds.
Yay!
Consume.
Obey, consume, reproduce, and marry. Make more children so they can also give us money.
Also, that reminds me of a joke I wanted to make earlier. When DW tells Bud he can be it, I was like, is Bud gonna turn into Pennywise now?
So then we find out that the older DW, who's now named Dora, because apparently she likes that name better than DW, which, fair.
Valid.
She took over Arthur's room, and, when Kate is explaining that to him and showing it, I was half expecting her to say, well, after a year or so, we thought you wouldn't return, and yeah.
That's so messed up.
It really looks like they really thought he was dead. Their child came back from the dead, and they're way too nonchalant about this.
And they still don't have a bedroom available for him. They're just
that's what pissed me off. His parents seriously did not think about the possibility that he'd come back, and they gave him a cot in Kate's room instead of another room. They had to have a guest room or something. This is bullshit.
Yeah, that's a big-ass house.
To be fair, I did always get, what the fuck about them forcing DW and Kate to share a room? No, don't make your kid share with a newborn baby. But
There's just no other way to explain it. They just straight up hate Arthur.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy part. I wanted to share a room with my newborn siblings, and it was still not fun.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm kind of happy being an only child. I'm not gonna lie.
Like, this is why I'm not having kids myself, so yay.
Oh, yeah.
I can be my own only child.
Yay!
I mean, we know the whole Arthur being away for 4 years thing was going to be traumatic for him, but was it really that traumatic for the rest of his family?
DW apparently skipped a grade, so I'm like, Jesus Christ, so her life trajectory is be kind of an annoying kid and then grow up to be an actually pretty happy older kid and then grow up to be a cop. So it's like, what happened?
Yeah, come on, you skipped a grade. You're way too smart to be a cop.
But can we talk about the design of her as an older kid? Because it's pretty cute.
It was cute, yeah.
It was cute. The glasses were just weird.
I liked it. She kind of looks a little like, geek nerdy. It's kind of cute because her shirt has like, I want to say Japanese words on it. So then maybe she's into anime or something at this age.
Yeah, maybe that's what Cyborg City was.
Did anyone else think that kind of looked like the Akabongo whatever language?
Yeah, I can kind of see it.
A little bit of a callback to the other fantasy. Wink, wink.
Yeah, if anybody knows what because I'm pretty sure that might be Japanese, but yeah, if anybody knows what DW's shirt says, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, because it didn't look like Japanese or any other alphabet languages to me. It kind of looked like something from a video game.
So what I find frustrating about the Where the Wild Things Are parody segment is that Arthur usually does an amazing job parodying styles of other shows and books, and they've managed to emulate styles really well.
They did frickin' South Park.
Yeah, and Beavis and Butthead, and
Dexter's Lab, Dr. Katz.
Maybe it's the fact that it was done in Flash animation, but this art style was uncomfortable to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really was. Because of course DW would picture her peers as hideous Where the Wild Things Are rejects, and not vice versa.
And she has Emily be impressed with her own rags. It's like, okay, girl, that's a little extreme.
And it's like, all the monster versions of her friends are like the exact opposite of whatever pisses her off about them. Like the Hat Kid, the monster one is like super unlucky, never wins. The Tibble monsters are like always quiet and polite.
Also, the Tibble monsters call themselves the Boggles, and I'm like, one letter off and we could have had an even worse duo. Wink, wink. Biggles.
Pain.
My nightmares.
Thank God we're not doing a kids' song saga.
Let's show them how we play Boggle in Arlen.
Yeah.
Also, another thing I just thought of. What if Grandpa Dave and Grandma Thora somehow died during this 4-year time skip? How the fuck would they handle that?
Arthur just has to learn that his grandma and grandpa are dead.
So, where are my grandparents?
Oak Park Cemetery.
They're not even acknowledged once.
Oh yeah, they're dead.
Well, no, Grandma Thora does have a cameo in the beginning, but it has fuck all to do with anything.
Well, there was an episode like later on where like Grandpa Dave was starting to show that he was starting to get like memory loss. So that's
the Alzheimer's episode.
Yeah, so that's that probably answers that.
Yeah, that was actually one of the last episodes I remember watching, and yeah, they handled it pretty well, honestly.
It did. And going back to these designs, as I said earlier, the best way to describe it is imagine Mark Brown trying to replicate Maurice Sendak's illustration, because that is basically what they're doing. They look like it's a weird like hybrid combination of like these two notable author styles.
Yeah.
So when are we getting an Arthur crossover with Little Bear?
Spike.
I would not be opposed to that.
In this case, this is the crossover with Seven Little Monsters I never needed.
Oh my god, that's right.
So I gotta figure that, after DW, fought a giant octopus or whatever, that she had to have inhaled so much asbestos by this point hiding under the stairs, right?
Yeah. Oh, she is having an asbestos-induced trip.
There's a creepypasta version of this episode where they find her dead.
Also, for some reason, when she's sailing on the sea, she says, "Now we're cooking with gas," which is a strange line to say when you're in the middle of the ocean on a boat that is powered just by the ocean itself.
Yeah, that was a weird line. And so then in this universe, she basically makes it so that Bud keeps losing all the time.
Oh, yeah, and the monster version of Bud, I think his name's Mud.
Muck.
He permanently has that red hat on his head.
It's attached to his skin.
So I was actually expecting him to say, this hat is part of my head. At first it wasn't, but eventually it kind of grafted onto my skin.
I didn't know this was a hat. It wasn't.
I love, too, that with this monster version of Buck, it's the only one I would say where the voice is pretty much completely different from that of the actual character. And I think that's mostly because he's voiced by Julie Lemieux, who is a veteran as far as Canadian voice acting goes. So she's the only one who can do like a pretty good, vocal affectation, whereas the others, they just sound like how they are, just like a little more shouty because, they're monsters.
Yeah, she was the one that I thought did a good job. So then DW gets bored of losing to Muck, and then it's like she's trapped in that one Twilight Zone episode now, or that Futurama Scary Door parody.
A casino where I always win? That's boring. I must really be in hell!
No, Mr. Smith. You're not in heaven or hell. You're on an airplane.
There's a gremlin destroying the plane! You've got to believe me!
Why should I believe you? You're Hitler!
No! Ava Braun, help me!
You think that's why Trump picked JD Vance?
One thing I will say is the Monster Boogaloo, or whatever that song was called, actually kind of slaps.
Yeah, a little, yeah.
What it is, it's a ska song. Like, I listen to the music,
ska,
like it's ska. It's like, do the Bundy Boogaloo, and it's like, well, where are the Mighty Mighty Bosstones going to cover this one?
No, it was the Big Beastie Boogaloo. That's what it was.
Yeah, the Big Beastie Boogaloo is the impression that I get.
Raise your pointy claws high in the air. Roar like a lion. Stomp like a bear. Everyone is doing what you want them to now. You're doing the Big Beastie Boogaloo. The Boogaloo is something that you can't contain. It makes you run around like a runaway train. When the Boogaloo takes you, it just won't let go until you're jigging with the rhythm of the Boogaloo flow.
So which beast is going to be the most likely one to go into anti-vax territory?
And so then we also learned that there's a hoverboard park in the Arthur universe now, because why not?
Oh, speaking of ska, so here I am. Doing everything I can.
Yeah. So how long until Robert Zemeckis gets harassed by people asking, where are the hover parks, Robert?
Yeah, so, the hover park idea is good in theory, but if the hoverboards stopped working in midair, because how this works is that they're literally propelled by air, like this is, like one of those indoor skydiving things. If it stopped, it would have very disastrous results.
They do show like inflatable cushions once it starts to settle, so they thought that through, I guess.
There you go.
Those didn't look very comfortable, I gotta say.
While they're on it, before the cushions come up, while it's still blowing around, there's nothing attaching their feet to the board. They're just like basically skateboarding. This is a disaster waiting to happen.
I can also foresee like some kid getting their hand or their foot caught in one of the air holes. That's not going to be good.
This is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Cars don't work on water unless you've got power.
It'll be like the Willy Wonka scene where they're flying up to the fan. It's like, you're gonna die.
Do you think there's a bunch of lawyers that just hang out there every night just waiting?
Is this the Elwood CIty equivalent of the Wonka scandal?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it is. That's another thing, too, I forgot to mention. There's this scene where Arthur and DW are watching Cyborg Cindy, and she mentions that she's not a fan of Mary Moo Cow because it's a baby show, but then DW says,
although they did put a lot of adult references in there.
Because get it? What fucking adult references were they putting in Mary Moo Cow?
I do gotta say, I love that Arthur was able to get away with parroting one of its neighbor shows. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you told me that Mary Moo Cow had a silo in the background that looked like a dick and balls, like, yeah, sure, why not?
We like soup. Soup is great. You eat it in a bowl.
Penis!
Where are the theories that Mary Moo Cow had cocaine stuffed in the costume and was saying fuck when a kid dropped something on her tail?
Did you know that a kid stepped on one of Mary Moo Cow's udders one time and there's a deleted take where she yells fuck at them?
And in that scene too, DW's talking about how, she used to be a pain in the ass to Arthur, when he was going through stuff. And then he tells her, you weren't so bad, DW. Lie of the goddamn century.
Yes.
Yeah. I accidentally skipped over a scene where Kate makes Arthur breakfast and it's like this really disgusting muffin that has fruit and eggs stuffed in it. And I'm like, that's gotta be like a new Starbucks item, right?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah, out of an easy bake oven. Exactly how they make it at Starbucks. Hey-o.
So then we go back to the Where the Wild Things Are parody, and we learn that there's an Arthur beast on the island as well, who used to be king.
Ruth.
The Ruthra, which sounds a lot like the word urethra. So they can say that, but they can't say Uranus.
My name is Retip, and I am evil.
That design was terrible. It would have scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, all these monsters designs, I fucking hated them.
They were just unpleasant to look at.
Yeah.
Like the Where the Wild Things Are designs are so cute, and they managed to translate them amazingly in the 2009 film, so what the hell happened here?
Here's the thing. Where the Wild Things Are, that had imagination. That had heart. This tries to have heart, but it doesn't have a lot of imagination to it.
Yep.
So basically what we're saying is we needed this episode to be directed by Spike Jonze, have the soundtrack feature nothing but hipster songs, and then have the Wild Things beat the shit out of each other, and at one point DW gets tossed into a monster's stomach.
Exactly.
For kids.
I did get a small laugh after they capture Rothra and he's saying, I'm busy. And then DW is like, you're not busy, you're just standing there. And he's like, I'm busy ignoring you. That made me laugh.
He's just like me, for real.
My one issue with Ruthra was the quality of the voice, how it's like, distorting lower pitch. And I think it's the kid voicing Arthur doing the voice, but...
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
To make it sound all lower pitch, it sounds like, I don't know, maybe it was just me, it almost sounded like it made like the mic pop. I guess that was just like whatever system they were using to pitch the audio down.
Oh, jeez, did he hit puberty already? That's our third Arthur this season.
All right, we're gonna need a new Arthur.
We were talking about Doctor Who earlier, but, just imagine that every time Arthur gets recast in this show, he just regenerates into a new Arthur like in Doctor Who.
Would that be the same for DW since it's always a different boy?
Oh, DW is the master.
Yeah.
And so then they have a thing on the island called anything cake, which you can make taste like anything. I imagine when Ruthra tasted it, he was like, I'm making it taste like your tears.
Fucking Peter Pan ass cake. My God.
Anything cake does sound pretty good.
Yeah. My biggest fear is what if I'm eating the anything cake and then out of nowhere I start thinking about like pickles or something. I like pickles. I would not want pickle flavored cake.
I just start thinking of one of those terrible Mr. Beast flavors and it turns into that.
DW and the Mr. Beast birthday.
If you think about like meat, like steak or something, will it taste like steak? So if I start thinking about human flesh and I eat the cake.
Yeah. That's another thing too I just remembered. Is that, when Arthur meets the new DW, she makes this joke about, the snowball episode and how she apparently didn't let that go, but she says she did. Narrator voice. It still haunts her to this day.
Oh my God. We all have that resentment we hold from childhood.
I do love that the in-universe explanation for that, by the way, is literally aliens. Like, they don't try to do it turns out it was this. No, it was aliens. Like, aliens just fucking exist.
Well, if we're going to go further, there was an episode recently, I think either in this season, before or after, I don't remember, where I think they kind of answered that Nadine partly kept the snowball a secret, and it was like Bud and his imaginary friend finding it out.
What?
I'm not making this up. This happened. They revealed this, that Nadine kept the snowball the whole time.
This is some Snuffleupagus shit.
Dark jump.
So they're actively trying to gaslight their audience with this shit.
Shark
The Arthur continuity makes no sense.
Do we need to do a mini-sode on this fucking shit?
I think so, yeah.
The Arthur snowball debacle.
Snowball lore. Yeah, I just blew y'all's minds, didn't I?
I investigated the Arthur wiki and I did not know anything about that.
I rewatched this episode on Pluto, which sidebar Arthur has a Pluto TV channel up in Canada. Hell yeah!
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah, I saw the episode and I was like, wow. So I guess we have the canonical answer for all of this. The reason is like she was trying to like prevent like those aliens from taking it, and you want to know what these aliens are? It's a two-headed alien troll.
Jeez.
It looks almost exactly like the ghost of lunch tomorrow.
What?
I'm not exaggerating any of this. This is now canon.
I'm fucking crying from laughing.
Okay, so this episode that Ryan's talking about is the first episode of the 25th season of Arthur. All will be revealed.
Yep.
I'm gonna watch this and I am probably gonna regret it. Because what the fuck, man?
You're welcome.
I was gonna say, for as long as Arthur went, and as much as I'm not a big fan of the later seasons, at least it didn't have a giant shark jumping moment. Oh, there it is.
Jumping the shark. This is jumping the frickin' megalodon. This is that whatever that fucking like nostalgia critic jumping the shark rant.
This is jumping the shark, coming back, shooting it in the balls, eating its flesh, consuming its soul, mounting its head on the wall, and then doing the same thing to 12 more fucking sharks just to be safe.
No. This is jumping the octopus.
Also, so they give a backstory to Ruthra that he was once the king of the island, and I'm like, oh boy, they defeated the royals. Good for them.
So this is what confuses me about this, is that Ruthra actually is Arthur, who ran away on his 5th birthday as well to Ukabanga, but the Arthur from DW's universe is still there, and the monsters that Ruthra knows don't look like his friends. What the fuck is going on here?
This is why we don't let 5-year-olds do serious world building.
Yeah, this raises like several questions. So like, is this Arthur actually, or is this like parallel universe Arthur who like went into a bad direction? Like, like one of those type stories? Or is this like Little Monsters where it turns out all the monsters there are just kids who never grew up?
You know what this is? This is DW after snorting 10 gallons of asbestos.
That's why I told y'all this episode is existential as fuck.
And they never even explain why Arthur just turns into a monster. He says after he ran away from everybody, he just got bigger and that's it.
And grew a unibrow.
Yeah.
Like, I guess he got what Helga from Hey Arnold had? I don't know.
I did get a chuckle at the bird torturing him with a Mary Moo Cow song. Although, when I first watched it, I was so expecting the bird to do, like, Crazy Bus, but they didn't.
Yeah, missed opportunity.
Yeah, Crazy Bus slapped.
It would have been funnier, but the Mary Moo Cow stuff it's funny. I don't care.
Also, when Ruthra is howling when he hears the Mary Moo Cow music, I swear I heard an uwu in there.
You probably did.
Having fun is hard. Ooh.
Well, I was gonna bring up too that when they show Arthur like about to enter there, they show that make it clear that his imaginary friend at the time was Stanley the teddy bear.
That was a cute touch. Yeah,
that was a good touch. I was
that
like,
was a nice little call.
I love how this show has been on long enough that like they're able to remember like specific details.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so then another plot they have in this episode is that Kate keeps trying to get both Arthur and Dora to play with her. And it's like, I guess it's supposed to tie into the arc of, I didn't spend enough time with you when you were there, but it just feels kind of repetitive, to be honest.
It really does. Like, I get what they're trying to go with here. Family time is important, but when one piece of that family is just absolutely horrible, you can't really blame them for not wanting to associate,
Yeah, when that family member is literally DW.
And also, Dora is literally talking about having homework, and Kate's still on her ass about not wanting to hang out with her. It's like, what are you doing?
My academic future is at stake.
Oh, so apparently, like Star Wars style, like hologram phones exist now 4 years later in Arthurland.
Sure, why not? And they have a joke where Muffy says, "My phone is so 4 years out of date." It's like...
And the Tibbles apparently made it to some sort of astronaut program at their age.
Yeah, the Tibbles are in fucking space now. Sure, why not?
And they still haven't learned shit because they're fighting over a goddamn pea.
So I guess both Columbia and the Challenger didn't happen in the Arthur universe?
The Tibbles are gonna cause the Challenger, let's be real.
Yeah.
The Tibbles made the fucking Challenger.
So instead of Sesame Street Challenger, we had Arthur do the Challenger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have minded the family time is important message if they also included it's still important to also give people their space message as well. And they barely do for the latter.
And at the end, DW still gives Arthur shit for doing the right thing. Like, he goes out of his way to be nice, but she pitches at him when the card isn't to her liking. Fuck you.
You know what? I'm taking that fucking puffin back, getting a refund, getting some ice cream. Fuck you.
Hell yeah.
So then they add in a plot that, oh, you can't just leave the island. It traps you here forever. So then they set up an escape plan. I love that when DW sets up a decoy, Muck thinks that he decapitated her.
It's just a coconut with eyes on a stick. It's perfect.
It is.
So Ruthra eventually just straight up sacrifices himself to... I at first thought these were like the octopus tentacles coming back, but being used for evil, but I don't know what those were.
I think they were just like tree roots or like jungle vines or something.
Yeah, I guess they were the things that trap people on the island, which, okay.
Oh, add some horror to this.
And the monsters can summon it by howling.
And so Rora basically dies.
Aurora, it's Rutra.
Aurora, what's this?
Aurora.
You know what? I'm calling him Beast Arthur. I don't even care.
In all fairness, that's just how I talk to Bundy.
Aww.
I just go, roar, roar, roar.
So yeah, Beast Arthur basically gets sacrificed saving DW because those monsters probably just killed him.
Yeah, they probably just straight up cannibalized him.
Oh yeah, they ate him.
He's dead.
He's dead, and he is on a spit roast being spun around a fire.
DW is going to have to live with that for the rest of her life.
So this was directed by Spike Jonze. I knew it.
And so then we cut back to the planetarium where Arthur has woken up after going through a whole arc of learning, okay, we should have spent more time together, and finally giving Kate that play date she wanted. And so then he decides he has to go to her party and get her a gift. At first is running to the chocolatier, which I saw was Patrick's chocolatier, and although I will say I did feel a little sorry for that toy store owner because you just know he was like, do I really have to let this kid in? I'm closing.
You know, I could just say no to this kid. And you know what? I will.
Yay!
I want to speak to your manager.
I have a sister, don't we all?
So then Arthur gets her that puffin, which that puffin had to be expensive, right? No way an 8-year-old can afford that.
Yeah, there's no way he paid for that out of pocket.
That is a $50 toy for sure.
It is.
And it's a popular toy, so it would probably be scalping on eBay by now.
And it's not even a plush puffin. It's very metallic plastic. Like, you could probably break it easily.
Yeah.
And so then we cut to the final scene where Arthur finds DW under the stairs, and they have their whole talk, and they still have a small argument, and somehow the kids just never find them. The end. Well, along with them returning to the island and all singing the song, because go back to the island where you nearly died makes sense.
Yeah. Not just the island where you nearly died, the island where you watched a monster version of your brother die.
So Arthur's on the island, but he previously died on the island. My brain hurts.
And he's got the crown thingy on?
Yeah,
what
it's like,
fuck,
what
man?
is this? I just love to think that those kids were trapped in the house forever trying to look for DW, and that's their hell.
In all fairness, being around DW is anybody's personal hell.
Huzzah. Oh, and I forgot to mention that Bud also comes back in the finale, and he's all grown up. There's also an episode where they decide they'll have them move away to kind of teach a message about dealing with friends moving away, but you could tell it was also kind of we've run out of things to do with these new characters.
Yeah.
So they introduce new characters, and then several seasons later, just get rid of them? What the fuck?
Again, it's not similar to how they just got rid of Sparky out of nowhere, but still.
Yeah. Did they really have to keep this show running as long as it did? I know the same could be said for Fairly Odd Parents, but still.
I'm a little more forgiving of preschool shows and shows on PBS going on for longer because they are often actually teaching kids things.
Exactly.
But yeah, like that's why obviously it's good that we still have Sesame Street around and we'll continue to have it around for generations.
Well, yeah, that's true.
That shit's not going anywhere.
Even Cyber Chase will still produce new episodes when they feel like it.
They're still going?
Yeah, they're still going.
Oh, shit.
They even recasted Gilbert Gottfried, rest in peace.
Yeah. And Christopher Lloyd's still working.
So, my final ranking, donation box. Like I said, it's not the worst thing I've watched for this podcast, and I think it's admittedly one of the better things of this era of Arthur, but it's also just kind of unremarkable. Like, if you're a kid who grew up with this era and you like it, that's great. I can see it being for someone. For me, it's just personally a bit of a downgrade compared to, say, Arthur's Perfect Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm giving it a donation box for pretty much the same reasons Kit said.
Same here. I mean, it's Arthur, but it's new Arthur, and the animation is just so stunted. Like,
I will admit, I kind of got used to it for a bit, but then I went back and watched an older episode, and yeah,
I'll say donation box too, because it is harmless for its target demographic, and I thought it gets its message across for the most part. But yeah, I can't go as far as to say it's one of the show's like strongest moments.
Yeah.
I will say, I was a little close to considering a burn, but the sweet moments and the little moments I did like actually did save it for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And plus, I'm not going to be like super harsh on the animation as some people were, because I'm just used to pretty much every 2D animated Canadian show switching to Flash. That's been the norm since for like the last 20 years, and I was not surprised to see Arthur switch into this medium. And also, it's even more interesting because it's like you went through two different studios. You went through, some seasons were done by 9 Story, and then this era of episodes was done by Oasis Animation in Montreal, which they've done a few other like stuff for PBS. They actually did some Flash work on Martha Speaks, Curious George, but the show I was surprised to see their name attached to, they also did some of the animation for F is for Family. So
wow.
Oh, wow.
They have a crazy roster ahead of them. So, which means like Arthur and Bill Burr are somehow connected.
So yeah, thank you so much for joining us again, Ryan. It was fun going back into the world of Arthur with you.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially, personal friend of Arthur's.
Did you ever have a beastly birthday or visit the island of Ukavanga?
If by beastly you mean driving 13 hours to Chuck E. Cheese, then yes, where a kid can be a kid.
Allah.
Damn straight. And remember to drink your juicy juice.
Yeah.
Anyway, is there anything you want to plug?
Well, you can just follow me on the regular social media places. Just look for Ryan Walterson on Facebook. Follow at R Walterson on Twitter. Capital R, capital W Walterson. You can find me on Instagram, Ryan Walterson 2. You can find me on Blue Sky and Fred's, I guess. Whenever I post on there, I'm still not completely used to it. And yeah, you'll just find me wherever I'm doing things at the moment.
Huzzah. You can find me on the usual. Actually, a big announcement. I have returned to Twitter, but I am revamping, so I officially have an art blog. You can follow me on MuppetVision_3D. I apologize in advance for how much of an old bartender demon cat you're going to see me draw there. And a spider boyfriend.
You can find me on Neon Tales with 2 Z's at the end, where I occasionally post the greatest political takes you will ever read, and anyone who says otherwise is entirely wrong. That's pretty much it. Other than that, you can find me desperately trying to prove that Arthur's Elwood and Family Guy's Rhode Island take place in the same universe.
Correct.
Paste.
It's called the New England Cinematic Universe.
All right, and as for me, you can find me on the usual spots, Tyler FG on Twitter, Tyler FG96 on Instagram, and as for the show, you can find us on Twitter at channel_KRT, Channel KRT Podcast, all one word, on Instagram, and you can also check out our Discord server and our Facebook group, which you can find in the link tree in our Twitter bio. And if you want to help support us, you can check us out on Patreon, where we have exclusive minisodes, outtakes, and episodes of this very podcast at its earliest convenience, as well as our Ko-Fi, where you can buy our exclusive minisodes for $5 a pop, or you can just give us money, whatever you want to do. And of course, thank you to our pals Paul Spicknall, Tony Goldmark, Ashley Hines, and Chris Reyna for pledging to us at the $10 level. And a huge thank you to our executive producer, Gomer. Alright, Channel KRT Urethra.
This is my urethra. Nothing. I ran the 40 in 5.9 seconds, but my fellows haven't reached the end zone in 12 years.